You smell the quality difference between a tier 1 region and everyone else. Hi, my name's Sebastian. I'm with Vision and Isle on the road to MSI, where I watch all 12 regions participating in MSI's playoffs, yes, including that one. I add more specificity because I realize that there are other regions who don't participate in MSI that are doing playoffs-ish soon. So, we got ourselves Mad Lions versus G2. And Mad Lions, keep this up. And solid contenders for maybe second or third place going into the tournament. Not quite convincing me that first place, but very close. So this ended 3-1 for Mad Lions. What are some of the good things? Well, we'll go for the bad things first, because there's less of it. I gotta appreciate that there is some creativity. I don't think I appreciate the approach that G2 went for all of these games. I don't think the compositions are as solid as what they were expecting. Like picking a Trundle instead of a Nidalee or any other options, or Skarner even, which probably would have fit over their compositions a little better in like game 2. What else? I think same thing with Mad. They had the game 1, they picked it all off, and it was kind of lackluster. It worked out in the end, but like it was kind of lackluster. Let's see. G2 seems to be relying on teamfight now. Like with a lot of minor regions, the teams that rely on teamfight heavily tend to end up they'll win sometimes and sometimes not. But like those that rely on teamfight mostly and less on like intelligent plays or like smart drafting with good teamfight tend to falter long term, especially if they're behind. And like G2 doesn't have that problem completely, especially since like they're very good at closing out games. The one game they did end up winning, they close it out very well. That being said, G2, and the casters mentioned this, G2 would frequently would just go do cross map plays to just get something that honestly, long term, depending on the decisions and how you want to frame it, probably isn't the best move to go for. Like, I understand that sometimes contesting so that you don't fall behind is not always the best move, but this didn't strike me as a way to keep up. This struck me as like the worst way to mitigate a lead, because all you're doing, instead of like stopping them from getting more gold than expected, they're just getting way more gold and way further ahead. You're doing the equivalent of like, oh, they got 2 kills and we got 1, so we're good. We got some gold, guys. We're good. We're still keeping up, but they still got 2 kills on their side, and your kill wasn't a shutdown. Like, I guess this example is like the very mundane, basic version of it. But because I remember a play where Mad Lions was getting Dragon, 2 turrets, while Reckless was just getting 1 turret in the top side. My brain went, really? That's where the priority's going? That doesn't track for me. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. I want to say that despite me not agreeing with a lot of the picks that were done, at least it was creative. I think that I would have preferred if it wasn't like a lot of overlap between a lot of the comps. I'm not saying they're like 1-to-1. There was like at least some minor differences stylistically, but it was not enough for me to be, satisfied. Right? If I'm going to critique a lot of the lower regions who don't do best of 5s all that often, or best of series, and about the way that they approach pick bans not creatively enough and not doing enough like variety between each game, I have to do the same here. The variety here exists, but it's not so big that I can go like, yes, I can completely recognize that they're trying to approach a different style. No, there was like enough of an overlap for me to tell that they were trying to go for similar win conditions, if not the exact same, but they were trying to approach it with a different set of weaknesses or a different set of like tools to approach those win conditions. And honestly, I can understand, especially with regions, because not many regions do best ofs in their regular season. I believe the only ones are China and Korea, who have the most wins under their belt in terms of world championships. But like if you don't do best ofs very frequently, sometimes it's good just to like do small changes and approach it little by little. But again, this can affect the way that you will play in the international stage, because you have to be able to adapt quickly to very wildly different styles, and you'll have to be able to adapt against teams that are very good at best of series, right? You're going to be against the best of all of these teams who are playing sometimes upwards of like 10 or upwards to 6 series sometimes, or 5. It's either 5 or 6 series, depending on the region. Some regions they only have like up to 3, some just 2, but like a lot of the very good regions sometimes will have upwards of like 6 series that the team itself that is going off will be playing. And so they have practice, and it more so if their regular season is already a bunch of best of 3 series, so they're already prompt and like primed for this kind of thinking. So those are my minor nitpicks of this, because this was a fun series to watch. It was solid. I appreciated that G2 was not goofing about. They clearly showed like a want to sit down and do something, even when people were trying to if you want to look at their first 2 games and go, oh, they were just kind of like messing around. This looks like a solid enough composition, minus the trundle in the game 1. And in game 2, let's see here, game 2, even if like you replace the Oriana with something a little bit more, or that's not game 2. Game 2 was a trundle. Game 1 being... Oh, game 1 was pretty good in terms of composition. But game 2, if you took out the trundle and replaced it with Skarner, about the same kind of things would happen. I don't complain too much about it. Yeah, it maybe not best to everyone's skill, but at least it's something that's a little out of the ordinary and allows a lot of different options to approach the game. Mad Lions, I can appreciate that they have created the same thing. They had only one composition where I was a little lackluster on, but that's because of the Olaf and the way that it was executed. Other than that, the rest of their compositions were fairly solid. I had no complaints all around. Vision, pretty good. It's pretty good vision. G2 is very superb at setting up neutrals. Good job on that. I will say in terms of vision, Mad, their early game vision is not great in some instances, but they are at least recognizing the win conditions of their opponents, and so they play either around it so that their win conditions are better applied, or they neutralize it. Solid stuff. They frequently, across 3 out of the 4 games, weirdly, their lanes, all roles, doing better than G2's, which is unheard of for a team of the caliber of G2. Like, a team that, like, within the previous lineup they had only lost about 4 best of 5s across 2 years is unheard of. And Mad Lions changing up what is arguably an upgrade to their team lineup, just straight up outplaying them roll for roll. Good shit, good shit. What else? Well, Mad's going to the finals, so they have only one best of 5 left to do. 1. G2, if you're going to want to get a rematch on this, I want you guys to pick your compositions better to suit the styles of your team. I understand, like, I don't have any major complaints about the way your compositions came out or what your compositions are trying to do. I think that maybe you guys don't have enough practice. So either apply more practice to these types of compositions, and then cool, solid. Otherwise, pick compositions that are simpler to execute, that don't require like one person to get a major lead, and approach a mindset of, can our players all individually carry on this role, even if it doesn't need the gold? And I don't mean like they're the ones that are popping off. I mean, are they the ones that if they have the gold lead on them, can it facilitate them? Because from what I remember, because G2 is one of those teams that have played a lot of international competition at this point, so I've watched a lot of their games at this point. This team style is mostly anyone here who gets a lead is able to transfer that lead to someone else that the lead is needed to be. They understand their win conditions incredibly well. So focus on developing compositions that are that make it so your players have an easier time getting to those win conditions, and don't necessarily require so many hoops to like jump in, right? Like Mad, however, on your end, keep it up. Like, clean up your vision game a little bit in the early stages, but you are much better at reacting when behind. Good job. I mean, you did a good job playing behind. I mean, like the one game where you lost, you absorbed pressure very well. You were just playing against a G2 that had picked a composition that played better to their style. And they were very efficient with it. And clean up your vision in the early game. You're definitely in the contention of, because I haven't gotten through most of China yet, but all the teams that I've seen so far, and this is like episode 32, so that's like, you have so far 2 of the 4 best playoff series that I have seen so far under your belt. Good sign, good sign. I'm gonna look forward to seeing you play, because I imagine that based off of the rest of Europe that I've watched so far, Mad Lions is probably gonna win the whole thing. And again, I know that they've already finished their playoffs. I'm recording this on April 12th, but like, we'll get there eventually. And I haven't seen what the results are yet. I'm trying to avoid any spoilers. I might not be able to do so, but I'm trying to avoid them as much as possible. I think Mad Lions are still going to win the whole thing, and they'll be the ones that qualify for MSI for their region. So you know what? Keep it up. If you show me in your last series that you're able to do this, round of applause. I appreciate it. You'll definitely do probably better than either Damwon or Genji or T1, because I don't know who made it from there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Up next, we're going to Brazil to watch Flamengo Esports versus Pain Gaming. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.